Thanks for staying tuned. This is Democracy and the Rule of Law. I'm Solomon Offem, the host for this show. Now, I have Barrister Mike Monan, a legal practitioner. Of course, he's a regular on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Solomon.
It's
Good afternoon, viewers.
Sunday.
Wonderful, wonderful Sunday.
Okay, we're expecting Barrister Destiny Takan. I'm sure he's a little behind time. He will join us as soon as he gets here. So, for the meantime, it's going to be you and I.
Very well.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at the first topic for discussion, where the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum and Delta State Governor Kowa on Saturday pushed back on the anti-restructuring comments by the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and other critics of the resolutions reached by the Southern Governors Forum during last Tuesday's meeting. Kowa spoke on behalf of 16 other governors from the southern zone of the country who was hosted in Asaba, Delta State capital. This is as River State Governor Nyesom Wike also on Saturday said the decision reached by the southern governors, including the demand for restructuring, were irrevocable. 17 southern governors who jettisoned their party affiliations had met to discuss urgent national issues and reached some resolutions which are now referred to as the Asaba Declaration. The governors at the end of the meeting issued a communique demanding the restructuring of the country, a review of revenue allocation formula in favor of the sub-national government, and banned open grazing across their states, among other things. The governors also called on President Muhammadu Buhari to convoke a national dialogue to address widespread agitations among various groups in the region. But Lawan on Thursday faulted call for restructuring by the southern governors, asking them to rather concentrate on working hard to first restructure their states before asking the federal government to do so. Now, it is good to know that finally some governors are beginning to come to their senses that this is a country issue and it is not a party issue, which means that they are taking country above party now in this instance. What's your
yes, very well. You see, it's a national issue, as we have said, and we have been clamoring for this restructuring from like say the days of Nebuchadnezzar. And every Nigerian that is patriotic wants something good for this nation. And so since the time that this present government was not in power, we were talking of restructuring, and they capitalized on that and promised Nigerians that is going to be one of their cardinal manifestos, that the moment they are in power, they are going to restructure. But the moment they came in, they sang a different tune. And since these governors, they all know the yearnings of Nigerians, that we are asking that the structure as it is no more convenient for Nigerians. And so we need it's not working at all. And so we need to restructure. We need to look at it again and see how we can restructure. Restructuring has several different meanings and layers, as it were, because some people will think of restructuring as something that is going to be like dividing the country into different regions and all that. Another person will look at restructuring as that of devolution of power, which is what we are clamoring for. Devolution of power from the federal to the state, and so that the state, and the local government, so that the state will be independent of, they will control their resources and all that, and pay their taxes to the federal government. And the federal government will now become less attractive to anybody that is within the enclave called Nigeria. And so that is a glamour, and that is what we have been yearning for. And since these governors now know that this is what Nigerians are yearning for, they come together and say, no, because this must come from the top, it must come from the federal government. It says the federal government must restructure as a matter of urgency if we still want this structure to remain. Otherwise, the structure will collapse. The way things are going on, we all know that anybody that is sincere Anybody who wants Nigeria to be peaceful, anybody who wants us to remain together, will want to advocate for restructuring. It is very, very important. It is paramount. It is what is germane now. And since the governors have found it necessary, they come together to say this is what we feel. We have felt the pulse of Nigerians, and this is what they are asking us to do. And we want the federal, it is beyond our power to do, and so we want the federal government to do it as a matter of urgency. It is a welcome development, and I think everybody should, any good and passionable Nigerian should be able to applaud what the governors have done, not to come and vilify them and say that it was wrong for them to come out and say that Nigeria should be restructured.
So one of the things that makes Nigeria a very interesting country is the ethnic and religious, ethnicity, the diverse ethnic and religious that we have, and that has also been our strength. But over time, let's say in the last 2-3 years, particularly in this dispensation, Nigeria has never been more divided the way it is. Why do you think that is?
You see, the cause of this is from the executive, from the presidency. If you look at the appointment of key sensitive players in the executive, you will discover that they are skewed towards one particular religion. And that is not good for a multi-religious society.
And multi-ethnic.
Yes, and multi-ethnic society. You cannot just be appointing people into sensitive positions in the cabinet from a particular religion, as if the other religion does not have people who are also competent to occupy those positions. These are the main. This is the major issue that has caused this religious sensitivity in the nation now. You discover that in the Christian fold, they are saying that the country is tending towards Islamization because of the appointment of these individuals, and it's a genuine fear. If it was from a different reason, the other religion would also say, no, it is not right. How can you appoint people from your own religion to take over the entire thing? That means that you want to Christianize Nigeria. It's a reasonable fear that is caused by the executive, by the presidency. And if the president wants this fear to go, the best thing to do is to apply federal character in all ramifications. The federal character is not just that this person from this state, and it must also talk about the ethnic group, the religion of the person, and all that. This will balance the situation, and then it will reduce the agitation against the issue of particular
when every ethnic and religions are represented.
Everything would just work out very well. Before now, it was not this bad. We were not talking of a particular religion, a particular ethnic group overshadowing the entire nation. It was never like that. But this particular government has refused to listen to the yearnings of Nigerians. They have refused to listen to pieces of advice from reasonable Nigerians who are not partisan in any way, looking for the way to ensure that this country works, this country is well taken care of, this country does not collapse as it were, because these are issues that would bring agitation for secession, like the IPOP is doing, asking that we don't want to belong here again because we are not taken care of. They are not appointing us as this, and they don't find us fit to occupy certain positions in the government and all that. And so they feel we are no longer needed. So we need to secede. We need to cut off ourselves from the main body so that we can manage our own resources and then develop our own decision at our own pace. And they have the right constitutionally to agitate for self-development. You don't. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. You must be sure that you have survived to be able to become anything or anybody in the entire world. So it is important for us to address this, or for the presidency to address these issues, these agitations, so that the issue of marginalization in terms of religion, in terms of ethnic group and all that will cease.
Now, the call for secession have been growing louder, just as the call for restructuring.
Yes.
But it looks like every patriotic Nigeria will lean toward restructuring and true federalism
very well
instead of secession. So is it like a counter call now for true federalism and restructuring as against secession?
In fact, if you ask me, that is exactly what it is. Because in the absence of equity, fairness in the country, as I have advocated, the next thing is for somebody to say, I want to secede. I don't want to belong here again. So if the issue of secession is to be doused, then you have to restructure and make the center more unattractive to the people, and bring this power to the state and the local government, so that the state will be able to generate their own income, pay tax to the federal, and then the people would now have the true sense of federalism. This federal government, federal structure was supposed to be copied from US, and then they have seen how US is operating. Our own is like a unitary government, so to say. It's not like a federal government.
And
a federal government is supposed to be a federal government. It's not supposed to be a unitary government. But the way we are operating it is like a unitary government. Everything comes from the center. It's not supposed to be like that. You remember that there was a time that when Donald Trump was the president of US, he said that during this COVID-19 management of lockdown and all that, he said that all the states should open their doors for worship and all that. Then some state governors said, no, we cannot do that because it's going to affect this. And he simply appealed to them. It was not like saying, you are monitor, you have to do it by force. No, because they have independent constitution that they are operating. You understand? The same thing that the Constitution of the United States binds all of them, but they have their own constitution. The different states have their own constitution that they are operating, and independently of this, but they derive their own power also from here. So it's like you have a structure that gives you enough power to exist on your own, and then you still pay homage to the upper structure.
More like a subvention.
Yes, that is how it is. That is how it is.
So, restructuring, true federalism, are there any difference? Are they the same thing?
Restructuring and true federalism are not the same thing. Why I'm saying this is that restructuring can mean cutting the state, the federation into different countries. Okay. As I said, okay, when the particular thing is talking of secession, you can say, okay, we want to restructure. We cut the country into four regions or four countries, 4 different countries. Okay. You are a country, and we find, prepare referendum and all that, we all sign, and then we go our separate way. That can be a form of restructuring. And then true federalism is a situation that you devolve the power, as it were, to the states, as we are talking now, and then the states will be independent practically of the center, but they will be liable, they will pay allegiance to the center. You understand? And so they have different powers. The center has different power. The state have, but the states are they can develop at their own pace, so not dependent on
about resource control.
Resource control. They are not dependent on the center, going to the center every time to withdraw. To get some money and all that. And then they are able to exercise their own right as citizens of the state independent of the federation.
Now,
The federation,
but in this case, the restructuring that we've been hearing is more of the resource control thing. It has nothing to do with the dividing or secession.
That is what I'm saying. That is why I'm saying that true federalism is different from restructuring, because restructuring has so many facets, so many sections that you can, so many methods or systems that you can use to restructure. But when you are talking of true federalism, you are talking of a situation that the federal structure is worked in the true sense of it. That is how it should work, like in the US. You understand? You just see it work seamlessly without this one colliding with this and having issues with this and what is going on in Nigeria now. The moment we have true federalism, now in this country, it's almost like saying, okay, we have restructured in the line of devolving powers to the state and local government. You understand? That is when you have true federalism. But restructure on its own is all encompassing, has more, it is bigger in the sense of it. So true federalism is part of the restructuring.
Okay. So rejigging the security architecture, is it part of restructuring or true federalism?
It is true federalism, and it's also part of restructuring. Okay. Now you see, rejigging the security architecture, as it were, is in the power of either the state or the federal government once you have proper restructuring. But as it is now, it is only the federal government that has the power to rejig the security architecture. That is why they are saying that if you have to restructure, we have state police, because the moment you have the state having the power, they will have their own police. They will have their own security structure. They can rejig it to suit their own environment, and then all these issues of insecurity and all that will no longer be applicable.
So now, the governors also said that President Buhari to convoke a national dialogue to address widespread agitation among various ethnic groups in the region. Now, it also brings us back to the letter or the notification that Presidency brought in last week, where he said some individuals, some high-powered personalities in Nigeria are trying to convene an illegal national conference where a vote of no confidence will be passed on the president with a view to overthrowing his government. Now, it's still a national dialogue here. So, is it necessary?
If you ask me, my brother, I will say that we have enough materials in this country as we are now to use and restructure if we want to restructure without any national dialogue. We have been talking and talking and talking. It is time for action. It's not necessary for us to call a conference of people to come and sit down and continue to talk. The last one that was done in 2014 had been kept in abeyance. Nothing has been done about it. If you visit that document now, so many of the issues that people are agitating for now, the provisions are there. They would have, if they are this thing is implemented, so many things would have been taken. This restructuring is part of it. It would have been taken care of. But the thing is that after the discussion, after wasting money to call people to come and sit down and talk, and now at the end of the day, what comes out of it? That is the issue. We need action. We need to visit the document that is already in existence, bring the issues out, bring out the ones that we are, is very hot on the front burner, and then you ensure that you send executive bill to the National Assembly, and because the moment an executive bill goes to the National Assembly, you know very well that this National Assembly is like executive, part of the executive. Do apologize to whatever. It will go through. It will go through. That is why the moment people from diverse opinion come together and say things that they feel do not appeal to the president, the members of the heads of the National Assembly will come out to try to puncture and say one thing or the other that would try to dent the issues that are raised by those people. These are not issues that should be politicized. You discover that the governors of the South that met, they were not from one political party. They are from various political parties. They came together, and then they came out with a communique that cuts across the board. You understand? All encompassing. So that it's not an issue that somebody will say they are against the president, they don't love the president, and you come out and say something so that they will say you are the one that loves the president. It's not right. These people are doing things because they are passionate about the existence of this country. Anybody that does not want this restructuring is not passionate about the existence of Nigeria. Is indirectly an enemy of this nation, and it is too bad that people who are highly placed will want to be seen as working against the unity of Nigeria by saying that we cannot restructure. This restructuring can only come from the executive, from the top there, and they need to start. It's like starting an engine, and then you put it in gear by pushing it to the National Assembly, and it starts moving. It will start moving to the state houses of assembly, and then back, and then we have a constitution that will now make things easier for people to now have a sense of belonging in their own state, instead of going to Abuja all the time to clamor for one thing or the other. And then if they say that there are ministers, just see that the application of the Federal Character Commission Act would become very obvious, because one person cannot just sit down and say minister for this, minister for that, from a particular ethnic group, from a particular religion. We must bring out the different ingredients together, and then we come out with the cabinet.
Now, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, come out to fault the restructuring call by the Southern governors, asking them to rather concentrate on working hard to first restructure their states before asking the federal government to do so. I mean, how do you restructure states without
that is laughable. That is laughable. How can you expect the state governors to restructure their state? Is it done? Do they have the power? So, they don't have the power. So, the restructuring comes from the center. It's not something that comes from the state. The moment the center restructures, it affects the state. The state will automatically fall in line. It's not something that a state governor can do. The only thing that the state governors have the power in some areas of the communicate the issues. For instance, they have the power to ban open grazing, which so many of them have done. I didn't even know that there are still some states in the south that have not banned open grazing. So many of them had banned open grazing, and they make laws from the state assembly to ban it. And once they ban it, it stands. It is immaterial what the federal government will say, because they have the power to do that. There are some issues that they have the power to, which when they said open, they were advising themselves that all the states in the south must ban open grazing, because it's no longer in vogue. It's no longer something that is
but that's not exactly restructuring.
No, that has nothing to do with restructuring. That is part of the issues to tackle insecurity, because these grazing herdsmen are those that are known to be carrying AK-47 and causing clashes with the farmers, going to destroy farmlands and all that, causing problems. And that is why they had to ban that, to try to tackle insecurity in the nation. So that has nothing to do with restructuring. Restructuring is in respect of issues that they now discover that Nigerians are dissatisfied with the present structure, with the present system, as it were, and they see it that it is restructuring that can give vent, that can douse the tension that people are having in the present dispensation. That is why they now talk of restructuring.
So the restructuring cannot be done in the state; it can only be from the federal
government. The center.
So,
yes.
So now it looks like the state governors, are beginning to leave the party line and focus more on nationality of Nigeria as a nation than party. So why is it difficult for the Senate to toe the same line? Because the Senate is still widely divided among party lines.
Very well, very well. You see, that is why I'm saying that leadership of the Senate is very important. And that was why the presidency ensured that they produce the person they wanted to be the president of the Senate. You know, when Bukola Saraki was there as the Senate president, it was not easy to just go there and get whatever you want. It has to be scrutinized. That is why people that are of various, I don't want to use a particular word, character, will come as appear before the Senate to be screened as either ministers or ambassadors and all that, and they just carry go. That is not how it should be. They should be properly screened. DSS are supposed to go to these people's villages and all that to find out the background story of these people and know exactly what is going on. Check their offices, what they were doing before. Have they been involved in this and all that? It's not something that you have to discover along the line that a particular minister or a particular chief of this and all that had been fraudulent before, and or even before he became he was appointed a minister and all that. So these are issues that have made us to see the leadership of the National Assembly as being an appendage of the executive. They doesn't want the executive, and because of that, if you've been following the discussion in the National Assembly, you discover that several people are speaking against the present government, the way it is handling issues of insecurity. Several people, but once they finish speaking, because the leadership does not want to toe the line, they will sweep it under the carpet. No matter what you do in the National Assembly, the moment the leadership is against it, it will be destroyed. It will be carpeted. So that is why we cannot have what we are having as the governors coming together at the National Assembly. Because if you could even have that kind of comment from the Senate president about restructuring, then you can imagine what we will have if the president just says this and they will want to execute it.